Dear students, welcome to Tungal online classes. Today we will start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 7, structural organization in animals, right? So first of all we will go through the meaning of this heading, that is structural organization in animals. So what is the meaning of this one? As the name suggests, structural means it is related to structure. Organization of the body of the organisms, that is animals especially. So what is the animal's body is organized with what the structure that organizes to form organism's body, right? So this is the task what we are studying now, right? So that is nothing but structural organization in animals. Animals body means in our body what are present, what is our body organized with, the question arises, right? So here it is very clear that body of the organisms is mainly made up of cells. The basic units called as cells. Cells organized together form the body of the organisms, right? So there are different types of organisms that we come across. There are unicellular organisms as well as multicellular organisms. So these are the two types of organisms that we come across here. So that is unicellular organisms, right, as well as multicellular organisms. So unicellular organisms are those organisms whose body is made up of a single cell. It is made up of single cell, right? So its body is made up of single cell. Means what? So these organisms' body is made up of single cell. Example for this one is amoeba. Amoeba is the best example. So here we can take the structure of this amoeba. It doesn't have any particular shape, irregular shaped cell, unicellular organism it is. And this amoeba has a single cell and it performs different functions. What are those different functions performed by a single cell, right? It helps in digestion. It also helps in respiration, right? Respiration. It also helps in excretion. Okay, so the same cell is responsible for reproduction. Okay, so such kind of many number of functions have been performed by this single cell. Such kind of organisms whose bodies adjusted, adapted to perform different kinds of function. So that kind of organisms are said to be as unicellular organisms. But whenever we go through the multicellular organisms, there the body is made up of many number of cells. That is thousands of cells. You know, here in multicellular organisms, one example we can take. So that is the example is Hydra. Hydra, I can take it as an example, right? So its body is made up of thousands of cells. But all the cells are not similar in their structure. So they are different in their structure. Means, so in Hydra, thousands of cells that we come across, and it has different kinds of cells. It has different kinds of cells. And these different kinds, among these different kinds, one kind of a cell, so in group perform one function. So one kind of cells, right, they perform one function. They may be digestion, respiration or some other things, right? So they perform one function. And another kind of cells together perform another function. Like this in multicellular organisms. So like us also. So there we come across so many number of cells of different kinds, and different kinds of cells perform different functions. This is very important fact to be remembered, right? So this is about the multicellular organism. Then what this kind of arrangement or this kind of things are called as, they are said to be as division of labor. What it is said to be as division of labor. Division of labor in the sense that some group of cells means one group of cells so together perform one function, another group of cells perform different function. So like this is said to be as a division of labor, which is seen in multicellular organisms, but there is no division of labor is seen in case of unicellular organisms. And ultimately, so the body is made up of what? The cells. Body is made up of cells basically, and these cells together form what? Tissues. These cells together form tissues, and the tissues together form organs. Right? So organs together form organ systems. Right? And organ systems together form organism. Right? And this is the highest level of body organization. Highest level of body organization. Organism itself is highest level of body organization. So see here, these organisms are basically organized with the cells together form tissues together form organs together form organ systems. So see here, different kinds of tissues that you come across in animals, and organs, you may take the example of organ, heart is there, brain is there, like this many number of organs that we come across, and all these organs together form organ system, that is circulatory system. It form heart and its vessels all together form circulatory system. In the same way, organ system that forms this brain, so that is nervous system. Okay, so nervous system that we come across, digestive system that we come across, such kind of many systems all together form this entire body, that is organism. Right? So is it very clear? In our body, circulatory system is there, so nervous system is there, digestive system is there, respiratory system is there, all these reproductive systems, all these systems together form the entire body of the organism. Right? So this is very clear for you people, remember. And if we want to know how these organs are performing their particular function, if you want to know this one, we must know what are these organs made up of. They are made up of what? Different kinds of tissues. So how the tissues are there, what their functions are there, so all those things that we'll have to study initially in this chapter. And afterwards, we'll go through the next things. Okay, so then what are tissues? The question arises, what are tissues here? And then what are tissues? Let us see what tissues are. So see here, tissue. Simply saying cells together form tissues. I said. Okay, cells together form tissues. Okay, so but what kind of cells together form tissues is the question. So tissue is defined as a group of similar or dissimilar cells, having common origin as well as common function, right? Called as what? Tissues, right? So why I said the definition like this? The question arises. First of all, we'll write the definition of tissue. Here, it is a group of cells having similar or dissimilar structure and have common origin and function, called as tissue. Now you came to know what is a tissue. It is a group of cells having similar or dissimilar structure. The cells may be similar in their structure or slightly different in their structure and have common origin and function. They must have common origin and they must perform common function. And such kind of group of cells is called as tissue. Right? So many times in books also it is mentioned that so it is a group of similar cells, right? Or it is a group of cells having common structure, function as well as origin. Such kind of group of cells is called as tissue. But whenever we take one example of xylem tissue, there we come across different shaped cells. Xylem vessels are there, xylem parenchyma is there, xylem fibers are there. So they are in different structure, but organized together forming a single tissue called as xylem. In the same way, phloem also. In phloem, you will come across companion cells, sieve tubes, right? So phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers, etc. They are different in their structure, but still they all together form a single tissue and perform the single function, that is the transportation of the food across the body of the plant. So that's why what I have written here is the definition. It's a group of cells having similar or dissimilar structure and have common origin as well as function, called as tissue. Right? So then the study of the tissues itself is called as what? Histology. In the last classes I have already told you the definition of this histology. So first of all you must know the meaning of this histology. Histos means tissues and logy means study. Totally what it is? Study of tissues. What it is? Study of tissues is called as what? Histology. The branch of biology which deals with the study of different kinds of tissues. So whether it is related to the animals or it is related to the plants. Different kinds of animal tissues or the plant tissues, right, and their respective functions is called as histology. Note down the definition of histology. It is a branch of biology which deals with the study of different kinds of tissues of animals. Here you are focusing on different kinds of animal tissues and their respective functions, called as histology. That is animal histology, we can say it. Okay, so now you came to know what is histology and who is the father of histology and who coined this term histology is very important. So here, so by chart is the name of the scientist, the one who coined the term histology, and he is said as the father of histology by chart, right? So he is one of the French physiologists as well as anatomist, right? So he is not by chart. So the one who coined the term histology, right? So histology, and he is the father of histology. Now we came to know what is histology. Then what are the different types of animal tissues that we must know. In this chapter we are going to initially the study of histology. That's why we must know different kinds of animal tissues. So basically here the animals have different kinds of tissues. So there are 4 in number. One is epithelial tissue and second one is muscular tissue, so connective tissue as well as nervous tissue are the four types of tissues that we come across over here. What are those one? First one is, I shall write here, first one is, that is epithelial tissue. Second one is muscular tissue, and third one is connective tissue, and fourth one is nervous tissue. Like this, there are four basic animal tissues that we come across in histology. In this chapter, we are going to study the detailed structure of all these four kinds of tissues and their respective functions. So let us start with the first type of tissue, that is epithelial tissue. Yes, let us start with the first type of tissue, that is epithelial tissue. As the name suggests, epi means upon, thelial stands for layer. This is said to be commonly said to be as an upper layer. Upper layer of what? The question arises. See here, many of the organs are there in our body. Those organs are externally uncovered with, the internal lining is made up of one specialized tissue called as epithelial tissue. Say for example, some of the organs you can take, right? And even you can take the structures in our body. What are these one? Lungs. So the trachea, here bronchi. So right, that we come across, and many number of sac-like structure that we come across here in it. And these sac-like structures are nothing but they are said to be as alveoli. What they are named as? Alveoli. And these alveoli are called as air sacs. Air sacs they are known as, and such kind of air sacs, whenever you take one example diagrammatically, so this alveoli is layered with specialized what? Epithelial tissue, and that specialized epithelial tissue itself is what? Right? So squamous epithelium we call it as, right? Means the internal lining of this one is made of what? Epithelial tissue. In the same way, you may take the example of J-shaped stomach over here. So there also you will come across what? The internal lining of this stomach is also made up of columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium that makes the internal lining of this stomach itself. What it suggests? It makes a continuous sheet. Means epithelial tissue, it makes a continuous sheet of cells which uncovers external and internal lining of the organs. That kind of tissue is said to be as epithelial tissue. Hence it is called as covering tissue. What it is also known as covering tissue. It uncovers the internal lining as well as external parts of the organs. Hence it is said to be as covering tissue. Right? So this is more important aspect to be remembered over here. Right? So this is epithelial tissue. The cells are compactly arranged compactly arranged over here. So without intercellular spaces, so which is filled with intercellular fluid itself. So this intercellular fluid is too negligible, or totally it is absent in this tissue, that is epithelial tissue. So in this tissue, this intercellular fluid is negligible or it is totally absent over here. Say for example, here the cells are here and there is no space in between the cells, and where is the space? No space. If there is no space, then there is no fluid at all in between the cells. So that is why there is no intercellular space and there is no intercellular fluid in all these cells. The point to be noted over here. And one more important point is cells are all held together by junctions, cell junctions. What we call them as cellular junctions. And these junctions are of three kinds. How many kinds that we come across? Three kinds of junctions that we come across. One is tight junction. And second one is adhering junction, and third one is gap junctions, right? So like this, there are three kinds of junctions that we come across over here. One is a tight junction. What do you mean by tight junction? Here it is a kind of junction which is present between the cells, where it binds the cells very tightly without any intercellular spaces, so that it does not allow the particles to enter in or exit out in between the cells, right? So there is no space between the cells because all of those cells are held very tightly amongst themselves. Tight junctions they are said to be. And the next one is adhering junctions. Here the cells are adhered each other, pressed each other, and both of themselves are held with the help of specialized fiber-like structures called as desmosomes. What they are called as? Desmosomes. Here the cells are adhered each other and held each other with the help of fibrous structures called as the desmosomes. This is more important, but here little bit exchange that occurs over here. It is not so tight as if the tight junctions. It is little bit so loose itself. And gap junctions, the name itself suggests there are gaps in between the cells. It allows the exchange of materials. Okay, so this kind of three kinds of junctions, which are explained after the epithelial tissue, means soon after the completion of all the types of epithelial tissues. In NCERT, it is not so correct according to me. Why? Because we must add one more point so as to describe the characteristic feature of epithelial tissue initially. We must know what epithelial tissue, how the cells are arranged and how the cells are binded each other. We must know initially only, right? So that's why I have explained these three kinds of junctions here itself. Okay, and one more important point to be noted over here. So what is that? One example I shall take over here. So what is that? This is one kind of cell, that is you can take the example of columnar epithelium. This is one kind of epithelium called as columnar epithelium. Here the cells are column shaped, hence it is called as columnar epithelium. See, all the cells are so resting on one specialized type of structure. What is this specialized structure called as? Is basement. Yes, in epithelial tissue, there we come across so the basement membrane. What is this basement membrane? So this is the basement membrane on which the epithelial cells are resting upon. They always rest upon the basement membrane, and this basement membrane that separates the underlying tissues. Here, any other animal tissue may be present, and this tissue is separated from this epithelial tissue by the basement membrane. Okay, so what is this basement membrane? The question arises. So, basement membrane is a non-cellular. It is non-cellular fibrous structure, so on which the epithelial cells are resting upon. So that is called as basement membrane. What it is known as? Basement membrane. So this is more important for NEET examination. And apart from this one, so this epithelial tissue always having free surface. How do you say it has a free surface? See the diagram over here. So here all the cells are here. This kind of tissue that forms the columnar epithelium. It's a kind of epithelium which makes the internal lining of the stomach. Okay, and this is so having a free surface. It has free surface, right? So there is nothing on this epithelium, and it always exposes itself to the lumen of the internal organs. Sometimes it may expose to the some of the fluids which are circulating across this tubular structure, right? So that is the major one more aspect of this epithelial tissue. And one more thing is, so this epithelial tissue, as already I have told you, it is derived from three germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm as well as mesoderm. It is derived from all the three germ layers. What are these germ layers? Already I have told you. So male gamete, female gamete fuses to form zygote. Zygote develops into embryo, and that embryo is multicellular mass, and that multicellular mass, so the cells that separate themselves to form three germ layers, and these three germ layers from which different internal organs as well as external organs are formed ultimately in animals, right? So this is how, so the epithelial tissue, it derives from three germ layers. So this is all about the characteristic feature of epithelial tissues. Now we shall start with the classification of epithelial tissue. Now, so basically we will start from the classification of simple epithelial tissue. Okay. Simple epithelial tissue is classified into different types based on the shape of the cells, right? See here, first one is simple squamous epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, simple columnar epithelium, simple columnar epithelium, simple ciliated epithelium, simple glandular epithelium, simple pseudostratified epithelium. So like this, basically these are different types of what? Simple epithelium itself. But in these, many other types that we come across. So let us see. So first one is simple ciliated epithelium is of two types. Simple ciliated columnar epithelium, simple ciliated cuboidal epithelium. Ciliated epithelium is classified into two types. Number one, simple ciliated columnar epithelium and simple ciliated cuboidal epithelium. And glandular epithelium is of two types, unicellular glands and multicellular glands. Unicellular glands as well as multicellular glands. In this unicellular glands as well as multicellular glands, there we come across once again different types, right? So they are not given in NCERT. Tubular glands, saccular glands that we come across, if possible we will discuss all those one also. And pseudostratified is of two types. Pseudostratified epithelium is also two types. Number one, pseudostratified columnar epithelium and pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium, like this. Pseudostratified columnar epithelium and pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium is the second type. Pseudostratified columnar epithelium is the first type. So like this, so all these simple epithelial tissue we'll study one by one, right, in the next video. Thank you.